I'd like to hop on to talk about Seth Appert getting a promotion with the Buffalo Sabres. This was some news that trickled down a couple days back. So, of course, with the Buffalo Sabres going back to the future a little bit here with Lindy Ruff as the next head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, the decision of who would be on his staff was kind of the next question that those of us in Buffalo that are as dialed into the team as we are, we're asking ourselves. And is it going to be Lindy Ruff and Michael Pekka? Is it going to be Lindy Ruff and James Patrick, who's a guy that coached with Lindy Ruff the last time Lindy Ruff was in Buffalo for quite some time? So played for Lindy Ruff, of course, for quite some time. So those were the types of questions that we were asking ourselves as far as what Lindy Ruff was going to do with his staff. Lo and behold, Lindy Ruff promotes Rochester Americans head coach Seth Appert to be his right-hand man. And Seth Appert was a name that a lot of us in Buffalo were wondering would get promoted from Rochester Americans head coach to Buffalo Sabres head coach in his own right, as long as, on a short list of options with Lindy Ruff. Evidently, the Sabres go with Lindy Ruff and Seth Appert as kind of this pair that, yes, Lindy Ruff's the head honcho, he's the head man, but Lindy Ruff wanted to have someone in place close by that has worked with these players for a number of years, that has been a part of this organization for a number of years. And yes, the Rochester Americans have done some decent things. And yes, the prospects that Kevin Adams has brought in to the Rochester Americans team, playing in the minor leagues, as far as their development goes, they have done some very good things. So to kind of stay in line with this development strategy of having a experienced head coach that can pull a lot out of players and a coach that these players have actually had in Rochester, it makes a lot of sense. But the caveat to that, the devil's advocate take to that, is that it's been 4 years since Seth Appert was the head coach of the Rochester Americans. It's been 4 years or 5 years now since Kevin Adams was named the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. If the Sabres don't start winning, and if the Sabres don't start winning soon, then Appert, Adams, and Ruff won't have much to talk about in regards to the Buffalo Sabres in the next 3 years. I think this is a do-or-die situation. The pressure is palatable within this fan base as far as getting back to the playoffs. It's been 13 years. Goes back to when the Buffalo Bills were in their playoff drought. As it got to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, those last few years of the drought, prior to them breaking the drought, were really the years that the fans started to voice their opinions more, take to social media more, and that came with the rise of social media. Whereas now, we're in a younger generation with more fans on social media, more fans on TikTok, X, all that stuff, and less patience with more losing. So these guys got to get it done. I think this upped the ante of the regime a little bit, that maybe on the outside looking in, people think, well, maybe they have a succession plan from Lindy Ruff. Ruff only signed a 2-year deal. Seth Appert's been here a long time. Could we see Seth Appert take the head coaching position from Lindy Ruff? Yes, if there is success. If there is not success with Lindy Ruff, Seth Appert falls in line with that as well. At the very least, he should fall in line with that lack of success, being that he's a part of this Lindy Ruff regime. Very interesting how the Sabres are working here and moving forward within this Lindy Ruff 2.0 era. Seth Appert now doubles down on what essentially has been the last 4 years of his coaching career and what could be essentially either the next 10, 15 years of his coaching career in Buffalo or the next 3 or 4 years, if that. So that depends on whether this works or whether this doesn't. If it does, the Sabres look like they've actually built something the right way. If it doesn't, it's starting all over again for an organization that has done more starting all over agains, more rebuilds, more retools, more revamps than any organization in the National Hockey League.